Welcome back, and thank you for tuning into Midnight Affairs Tales. We appreciate every single one of you. We'd love to know what part of the world you are watching from right now. Let us know in the comments. Now let's dive into today's story. Chapter 1. The sky was gray. Not stormy, just dead. Like it knew what was happening and didn't care. The funeral was small, but not quiet. Cameras clicked. A few reporters murmured outside the church gate. Inside, the polished casket sat untouched, flag folded sharp as a blade. Logan Rourke, Navy SEAL, elite operator, husband, had been declared Kia. No body recovered. Just a satellite call and a bag of gear shipped home in silence. His wife, Kara, wore black. Not the kind soaked in grief. This was sleek, tailored, like she planned to wear it again. She cried, but not too much. Next to her sat Rex Dalton, Logan's old friend, hunting buddy, the kind of guy who laughed too loud at bad jokes and borrowed tools he never returned. Now, he was holding Kara's hand. Logan's brother, Clint, stood across the aisle. He watched everything. His knuckles were white from clenching the pew. Something wasn't right. He felt it. And deep down, so did Kara, but for a different reason. Outside, a single black SUV idled with tinted windows. A man sat in the back seat, watching the church doors. His face was bruised, healing unevenly. His right hand trembled once, then stopped. Logan Rourke wasn't dead. He hadn't come home yet, but he was here. He watched Rex kiss his wife's cheek and press a hand to her lower back as they walked down the steps together. Logan didn't blink. So this was how it started, not with gunfire, not with some dramatic chase. It started with a funeral, a folded flag, and a lie so deep the truth couldn't breathe. But how do you bury a man who's still alive? Wait, I need to tell you something important. Have you ever realized that you keep watching my videos but haven't subscribed yet? This video has reached this point, which means you're enjoying it. So why not subscribe? I have a big goal, 3,000 subscribers, and you can help me reach it. Think about it. If you don't subscribe now, you might miss my next big video. This is the moment. Hit that subscribe button now. Do it now. And don't forget to hit the bell icon so you never miss out. I know you'll do it. And when we hit 3,000 subscribers, I have a special surprise for you. Now let's continue story. 3 weeks earlier. Sand in his mouth. Blood in his eyes. No backup. No extraction. Logan crawled out of the wreckage of an ambushed convoy. His leg torn open. His radio smashed. His teammate, Mendoza, lay face down in the dirt, burned beyond recognition. The op was classified. They weren't even supposed to be there. A quiet intercept mission near Mogadishu turned into a setup. No one came. No one ever would. He dragged himself for miles, half delirious, half dead, until a village woman pulled him from the edge of a river and carried him to a makeshift clinic. They kept him hidden. No name, no documents, no noise. He spent 2 months in silence, watching his skin knit back together while his mind frayed. At night, he saw flames. Kara's face. Rex's smirk. His phone had been destroyed. But when he finally got his hands on an old satellite feed, just one link to the outside, he saw something. Kara, in his house, with Rex, smiling, wearing Logan's hoodie, grilling steaks in Logan's backyard, kissing Rex with the ease of someone who'd done it before. How long had it been going on? He didn't know how he got to his feet. He only knew he wasn't staying buried. He walked with a limp. He spoke like someone who'd lost part of himself. But his mind had never been sharper. Logan died in that ambush. The man crawling out of that clinic wasn't him anymore. This new version? He didn't care about medals, or honor, or duty. He cared about one thing. Getting everything back, piece by piece, or burning it all down. No one saw him arrive. Logan Rourke stepped off the bus in a small Virginia town wearing a second-hand coat and a silence that made people move out of his way. He had no fingerprints anymore. Burned off in the explosion. His military records? Marked deceased. Social Security? Gone. He was a ghost with unfinished business. First stop wasn't home. It was a storage unit 2 towns over, one he'd opened years ago under a fake name, just in case. Inside, cash, weapons, photos, and a laptop. He opened it, logged in. Surveillance feeds flickered on screen. Static, then color. He'd hired a private contact while in hiding. Someone owed him a favor. Now, cameras fed him live footage of his own driveway, his own living room. Rex and Kara were in his house, living his life. The dog, Murphy, didn't even bark anymore. Logan leaned in as Rex tossed a beer can on the floor and flopped onto the couch. Kara said something. Rex laughed. Logan's jaw clenched so hard his teeth ached. Not yet. Not loud. Not fast. He wouldn't kick the door in. He would wait. Watch. Let the truth ooze out from under the floorboards. This wasn't just a love affair. Something deeper was going on. Insurance policies. Bank statements. A private message from someone Logan didn't recognize, status confirmed. Funds pending. His death had value. And someone got paid for it. He closed the laptop. He didn't come back for closure. He came back for war. But the real question wasn't how Logan would strike. It was when. Logan stared at his reflection in the motel mirror. He didn't recognize the man staring back. The beard was thicker, hair longer. The scar across his temple hadn't fully faded. His eyes had changed most, cold now. Not empty, just focused. He pulled open a duffel bag and pulled out a driver's license with a new name, Cole Harding. Clean background, untraceable identity. Burned fingerprints didn't hurt. He adjusted his voice in the mirror. Name's Cole, he muttered. Freelancer. Quiet work. Doesn't ask questions. The lie rolled off smooth. Too smooth. He needed the mask. Not just for the world, for himself. Logan Rourke had been a soldier, a husband, a man who believed in right and wrong. Cole Harding was none of those things. Later that night, he went to a bar in a nearby town where no one knew him. Ordered a bourbon. Sat in the corner. Listened. The bartender flirted. He nodded, smiled, but kept his eyes scanning. That's when he heard Rex's name. A guy in a construction vest bragging about Dalton getting another fat contract from the city, probably 'cause he's got someone in his pocket. Logan leaned forward slightly. Rex wasn't just a cheater. He was dirty money. Connections. Greed. The bartender poured another round. You okay, mister? Logan looked her in the eye. I'm just getting started. Behind every liar is a truth they buried. And Logan was done being buried. How long could he wear this mask before something real cracked underneath? It had been 2 nights since he returned. Logan stood in the tree line across from his old house, watching. The porch lights were on. The kitchen windows spilled warmth across the lawn. Inside, Kara was laughing. The sound hit him like a punch. Not because it was joyful, but because it was real. She laughed like nothing was wrong. Like her husband hadn't been burned, betrayed, erased. Rex came up behind her, kissed her neck. She didn't flinch. Logan's fingers twitched. In his hand was a small, custom trigger device. A test. Nothing lethal, just a signal jammer for the house's Wi-Fi and security cams. He flipped the switch. Inside, the lights flickered. Kara paused, looked around. Rex muttered something and walked out to check the fuse box. Logan stayed still, silent. The door creaked open. Murphy, his dog, stepped onto the porch. The dog sniffed the air, ears up, body tense. Then he whined, took 2 cautious steps forward. Logan dropped to one knee and whispered, "It's me, buddy." Murphy stopped, whimpered louder, tailed wagged, slow at first, then fast. Logan almost stepped forward. Almost. But Rex's voice shattered the moment. "Murph, get back in here." The dog hesitated, then retreated. Logan's hand clenched tight around the trigger. Not yet. He could have ended it right there. 1 shot. 1 second. But this wasn't about speed. It was about impact. Kara and Rex needed to know what it felt like to lose sleep. To question shadows. To feel hunted. Just like he did. And the real trigger? It wasn't in his hand. It was inside him. What happens when the man you buried starts digging up your secrets? Clint Rourke hadn't cried at the funeral. Not in public, at least. He'd watched Kara fake her tears, had watched Rex touch her lower back like he owned her. Clint had gritted his teeth and kept quiet. That was Logan's wife, Logan's life. But something had never felt right. And tonight, that feeling roared back. He was home, alone, flipping through Logan's old deployment journal. He wasn't supposed to have it, but Logan had sent it before his last mission, with a note. If this makes it to you, I didn't. Clint had read it twice before, but tonight, he noticed a line he'd skipped. If anything happens to me, and Rex is near Kara, don't trust either of them. The words chilled him. He opened his laptop and started digging. Public records, business contracts, property records. Rex's name was tied to 2 LLCs he hadn't disclosed. One of them had cashed a life insurance claim within 14 days of Logan's death. That wasn't grief. That was a payday. His phone buzzed. No caller ID. He answered. Clint, the voice rasped. It's me. He froze. Who is this? The voice paused, then said, You know who? Logan. His voice broke. Don't speak. Just listen. I'm alive. And I need your help. Silence. Then, are you coming home? Logan's voice dropped. Home is gone. I'm not coming back to be a brother. I'm here to clean house. The line went dead. Clint stared at the screen. His brother was alive, and he was coming for blood. But how much did Clint owe him, and was he willing to pay it? Kara Dalton, she'd stopped using Rourke months ago, sat in the walk-in closet, staring at her reflection in the vanity mirror. Her hand hovered over a velvet box, the same one that had once held her wedding ring. Empty now. She hadn't cried in weeks. But tonight, something in her chest twisted. Not guilt. Guilt would mean she regretted it. This was something else. Fear. There were whispers. First, the power flicker. Then, Murphy acting weird. Now, the car alarm going off at 3 a.m. twice this week. Nothing missing, nothing broken. But something wasn't right. She looked over her shoulder. Rex was snoring in their bed, shirtless and drunk. Again. He'd been tense lately. Picking fights. Snapping about little things. The money from the insurance had helped, but it hadn't solved the cracks in their foundation. If anything, it exposed them. And Kara? She had her own secrets. Logan hadn't just been a husband. He'd been a threat. A man too close to something dangerous. A classified operation she was never supposed to know about, except she had known. Because she helped Rex pass information. Helped Rex disappear Logan when things got complicated. At least, that was the plan. But now? She stood up, walked to the drawer under the sink, pulled out the burner phone she hadn't used in 6 months. No messages. Then, suddenly, a single new text blinked onto the screen. You lied to everyone, but I'm the one who died for it. She dropped the phone, stumbled back. Her pulse hammered in her ears. He couldn't be alive. He couldn't be back, right? But what if the biggest lie wasn't that Logan was dead? It was that Kara ever loved him at all. The wind was sharp that night, slicing across Logan's face as he lay prone on the ridge above Rex's new job site, a city-funded construction zone just outside town. From his vantage point, he could see the movement below, workers clearing rubble, trucks loaded with supplies, security posted at the fence. But Logan wasn't watching the crew. He was watching Rex. Dalton strutted through the half-lit lot like he owned it, barking orders, checking paperwork, sliding envelopes into unmarked pickups. Dirty deals. Side money. Off-the-books subcontractors. Logan clicked a small device. His drone, perched on a rusted metal beam above, zoomed in and captured everything. He spoke softly into his recorder. Rex Dalton, receiving unregistered delivery. 9:43 p.m. documenting for leverage. He wasn't going to kill Rex yet. He was going to ruin him first. Behind him, a crunch of gravel made him freeze. Footsteps. Light, cautious. He rolled silently, pistol drawn low, and aimed. Clint stood there. Hands up. Easy, Clint whispered. It's just me. Logan narrowed his eyes. You followed me? I waited. I knew you'd be watching him eventually. A long pause. Logan kept the gun raised. Say something only Logan would know. Clint didn't blink. 3rd grade. You broke Dad's truck window, and I took the blame. You gave me your Game Boy for a month. Slowly, Logan lowered the weapon. "You're the only person I trust," he said quietly. "Which means you're the only person I can't let get too close." Clint stepped beside him. "You're not alone in this." Logan looked back toward the site. "I am," he said. "I just haven't finished reminding everyone yet. Because once you start watching, you can't look away." Rex stood shirtless in the bathroom, staring at the jagged scar across his ribs, a reminder of a bar fight years ago that nearly killed him. He used to call it a badge, a warning. No, it just itched. His phone buzzed. Unknown number. He almost ignored it. Then something made him answer. Silence. Then a voice he hadn't heard in 6 months. "I wonder if that scar still hurts." Rex's blood went cold. He looked around like someone might be watching. "Who is this?" "You know who." Click. Rex dropped the phone. It shattered on the tile. His breath came in short bursts. No. 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 He walked out into the hallway, found Kara on the couch with a glass of wine. "You okay?" she asked, eyes narrowing. Rex couldn't lie, not well. Just phone spam. Nothing. But his hands were shaking. That voice, Logan's voice, hadn't sounded broken or weak. It had sounded controlled, calm, like a lion waiting for the gate to open. Later that night, Rex sat alone on the porch, a pistol tucked into the waistband of his jeans. He scanned the trees, the shadows, the wind. He used to be confident, brave. Now, every scar on his body felt like it had opened back up. Across town, Logan rewound the audio. Rex was cracking. Fast. Scar tissue wasn't just skin deep. It lived in the mind. In the guilt. In the panic when the past knocked on the door. Logan didn't need to show himself. He just needed them to remember. Because some scars don't heal. They whisper. They wait. They burn. Clint sat across from Logan in a dim diner outside city limits. Red vinyl booths. Flickering light. Grease-smudged windows. The kind of place no one asked questions. Logan had a laptop open between them. Footage from the construction site. Files, photos. Clint scrolled through them slowly, his fingers trembling. "This is bigger than just cheating," he muttered. "Rex is running illegal contracts through shell companies tied to Kara's name." Logan sipped his black coffee, eyes locked on the screen. And if she knows, she's part of it. If she doesn't, she's still dirty. Clint looked up. "So what now? You blow it wide open?" Logan shook his head. "No, we don't expose it." Clint frowned. "Then what?" "We use it." He pulled a flash drive from his coat and dropped it on the table. "This is leverage. Blackmail material. Threats. Control." Clint hesitated. "You sure you're not going too far?" Logan leaned forward, voice low. "They buried me. Lied over my grave. Took my house, my name, my dog. You don't come back from that and play fair." He slid the flash drive across the table. Time to squeeze them. Outside, rain started to fall. Logan looked out the window. Somewhere across town, Kara and Rex were laughing, living, sleeping easy. That was about to change. Because leverage wasn't just about power. It was about control. And Logan Rourke had nothing left to lose. Rex couldn't sleep. He hadn't slept right in days. He paced the hallway barefoot, glancing at every window, every shadow. Kara had started asking questions, but he shut her down fast. He couldn't let her know how far this thing had spiraled. The money was being traced. The contractors were asking too many questions. And now Logan's ghost was everywhere. The voice. The dog acting strange. A box of ashes mysteriously left on their front step last night with no return address. It was a pulse, a slow, steady reminder that something was coming. A beat that wouldn't stop. Rex grabbed a knife from the kitchen drawer. Not a gun. A blade felt personal. He walked out to the back porch. Stood there in the dark, wind howling through the trees. "Come on, then," he muttered. "I know you're out there." But no one came. He stood there for 15 minutes before going back inside. What he didn't see was the note left tucked inside the mailbox. 5 words. Blocky handwriting. "I never liked knives anyway." Across town, Logan watched from a car parked under the bridge. He didn't need to strike yet. He just needed them to feel it. The pulse. The waiting. The fear. Because the real punishment wasn't in the blow. It was in the build-up before it hit. The plan had moved fast. Logan tapped into Rex's office server using a relay laptop and a wireless antenna from the rooftop of an abandoned building. He was stealing everything: emails, financial records, confidential calls. And in between code lines and data spikes, he paused. He looked at the live camera feed of himself. Unrecognizable. Not just in face and spirit. This was no longer revenge. It was transformation. And maybe, you watching this right now, you feel something too. Yeah, I'm talking to you. You watching this video from your phone or late at night with the volume low. Which city are you in? No, really, say it in your head right now. Because someone like Logan could be walking your streets, blending in, watching, waiting. And maybe the next time your lights flicker, or your signal drops, or your camera glitches for no reason. Maybe it's not just tech issues. Maybe it's someone reminding you that the past never stays buried. Back in the feed, Logan cracked another layer of the server and froze. One file, hidden deep, labeled L. Rourke Priority. He opened it. A video, surveillance footage, of him, alive, after he was declared dead. He slammed the laptop shut, breathing hard. They knew, he whispered. They knew I lived. His hands shook. This wasn't just betrayal. It was planned. And if that file existed, who else was in on it? Kara's phone buzzed. Unknown number. She frowned, thumb hovering. Answered. Hello. Static. Then a voice. Calm. Too calm. Did you tell Rex what you did to make sure I wouldn't come home? Her breath caught in her throat. Who is this? You know. The line cut. Kara stood frozen in her kitchen, the hum of the fridge suddenly deafening. Her hand trembled as she set the phone down. She didn't speak for almost a minute. Then she moved. Fast. She ran upstairs, tore open her dresser drawer, and dug out an old flash drive. It had been hidden beneath years of junk and denial. She plugged it into her laptop. Footage. Documents. Bank records. A call log. One voice note. Rex's voice. Once he's out of the picture, we'll move in quietly. You'll get the payout. I'll handle the contractors. He's not coming back. She had saved it. For leverage. Just in case. But now? Now she felt it closing in. If Logan was alive, and she didn't doubt it anymore, he would burn it all down. She closed the laptop. She wasn't innocent. But maybe, just maybe, she didn't want to be buried with Rex either. She reached for her keys. Because when the walls start to close in, the only way out is through the fire. And this time, she wasn't sure who she feared more, Rex or Logan. Clint sat at his kitchen table, staring at a printed screenshot from Logan's stolen server dump. It was a contract, dated 4 weeks before Logan's last mission. Stamped classified. But the signature at the bottom made his stomach turn. Rex Dalton. He'd signed off as a civilian tactical advisor. The hell did that even mean? Clint picked up the phone. Logan, you need to see this. Silence. Then, I already have. You knew. Logan's voice came through calm, quiet. I had to be sure. Now I am. Clint exhaled. This isn't just betrayal. It's treason. No, Logan said. It's murder in slow motion. And it's time to stop waiting. Later that night, Logan stood outside the old warehouse district, Rex's second base of operations. From the shadows, he watched men load unmarked crates into trucks. Gun parts. Tech equipment that shouldn't be there. He turned to Clint. He's arming someone. Maybe a buyer overseas. This isn't just local corruption. It's international. You gonna stop it? Logan nodded once. We're not reporting him. We're not calling some agency. Clint stiffened. Then what are we doing? We collapse it all. He handed Clint a camera. Get proof. I'll do the rest. Logan, this is war. Logan looked him dead in the eye. No, this is justice. And behind his calm tone, something was unraveling. Not rage. Not grief. Just the cold clarity of a man who knew exactly what needed to be destroyed, brick by brick. The spark didn't come from an explosion. It came from a single leak. At 3:14 a.m., the footage Logan had compiled of Rex's contracts, offshore accounts, and arms dealings hit the inbox of a quiet federal investigator named Nico Vance. Nico was old school, former Army intel, and he knew a red flag when he saw one. He opened the files, watched, read, cross-referenced. Then he saw the name, Logan Rourke, declared deceased. File closed. He sat back in his chair, silent. Son of a bitch. By 4 a.m., 3 other agents had been looped in. Quietly. Off the books. They weren't ready to act yet. But the spark had lit the fuse. Meanwhile, Kara sat in her car at the edge of town, staring at a safe house she hadn't seen in years. The one Rex used during side work. She reached for her phone. She didn't call Rex. She texted Logan. One word. Talk. No response. Not yet. But he saw it. And he let her wait. Because some flames don't need gasoline. Just oxygen. And Logan had learned how to wait until the air was thick. The fire was coming. Question is, who burns first? Kara waited. Not in her house. Not near Rex. She was parked at a gas station off I-64, staring out the windshield as the rain streaked sideways. She hadn't eaten. She hadn't slept. She just waited for him. And then he stepped out of the shadows. Logan. He didn't approach like a ghost. He walked up like a man who didn't care if the world saw him. Same eyes. Same frame. But colder now. Sharper. Like all the softness had been carved away and left behind in the dirt. He opened the passenger door and slid in. For a long time, neither of them spoke. Finally, Kara whispered, "You're alive." Logan didn't look at her. "You're observant." She winced. "I thought you were dead." "No," he said. "You hoped I was." Her throat tightened. It wasn't supposed to happen like this. Logan turned his head, eyes locked. "Then how was it supposed to happen, Kara?" She looked down at her lap. He leaned in, voice low. "Did you love me?" Kara blinked back tears. "I thought I did. Until everything got twisted." Rex said, "Don't say his name." The silence that followed was violent. Finally, she reached into her purse and pulled out the flash drive. "This is everything. The deal. The plan. Before your last mission. He never meant for you to come back." Logan took it, eyes unreadable. "You're not doing this for me," he said. She nodded. "No. I'm doing this because I'm tired of being afraid." He opened the door to leave. She called after him. "Are you going to kill him?" Logan paused. "No." Then he looked over his shoulder. "I'm going to end him." Rex Dalton was spiraling. He sat in his office, blinds shut, one hand wrapped around a bottle, the other gripping his phone like it could save him. 3 voicemails. All from unknown numbers. No voice. Just breathing. Earlier, his truck alarm had gone off 5 times in 1 hour. No one around. Then the lights in his house flickered again. For 10 minutes straight. Now, someone had leaked a photo of him with Kara at a federal contractor gala, dated just 2 weeks after Logan's funeral. Online blogs were already calling it suspicious. The noise was everywhere. Pounding. Pushing. Whispers. He stood and threw the bottle across the room, shattering it against the wall. The walls felt like they were closing in. He stormed into the garage and ripped open a toolbox, grabbed the pistol he always kept hidden under the bottom drawer. Then he walked out back. Yard silent. Trees still. No movement. But something was out there. He could feel it. He shouted, "Come on then. You want to play games? You think I'm scared of you?" Silence. Then, a single red laser dot blinked across his chest. He froze. His eyes darted trees, windows, rooftops. Then the dot vanished. He was shaking now. Inside his house, his phone buzzed again. New message. No number. Just 4 words. "You're making too much noise." Rex dropped to his knees in the grass. He wasn't scared of Logan. He was scared of what Logan had become. Because noise wasn't just sound. It was pressure. Panic. Collapse. And Logan was making sure Rex heard every second of it. The package arrived at dawn. Plain cardboard. No return address. Left on Rex and Kara's porch. Inside, a black box. Kara opened it with shaking hands. She gasped. A bullet. 1 single round. Scratched and dulled. Under it, a folded note in Logan's handwriting. "This was the one that didn't kill me." Rex walked in behind her. Saw the bullet. Read the note. His jaw clenched. This is getting out of control. Kara turned on him, furious. It's been out of control since the second you dragged me into this. You dragged yourself in. No, she shouted. I was stupid. Scared. But I didn't sign the damn kill order. Rex's voice dropped. You think that matters now? You think he's going to make that distinction? Kara backed away. You were supposed to scare him off the mission. That's what you promised. Not this. I didn't know the strike team would fail. He survived, Rex. He's alive. And he's smarter than both of us. They stared at each other in thick silence. Then Kara whispered, he's not going to just kill us. He's going to unmake us. Rex looked down at the bullet. A single object. A reminder. A promise. And suddenly Rex realized something terrifying. Logan wasn't just hunting them. He was teaching them what it felt like to wait for death. Nico Vance leaned back in his chair, reading the third decrypted document Logan had sent him. He didn't like the game, but he respected the player. This wasn't just a seal gone rogue. This was something deeper. Strategic. Surgical. Logan had compiled a file so tight, it was hard to ignore. But there was a problem. The deeper Nico dug, the more red flags he found, inside his own agency. Someone high up had marked Logan deceased before the body count was confirmed. And not just that, his name had been flagged in a side program Nico wasn't even supposed to have access to. Project Perseus. No explanation. No clear origin. Just names. Crossed out. And now Logan's name had been uncrossed. He clicked the earpiece. Agent Locke. Need you on this. Quiet. No paper trail. Locke's voice came through. You think he's dangerous? No, Nico said. I think he's the only one telling the truth. Across town, Logan sat in the back of an old Jeep, watching traffic roll by. He was listening to Rex's tapped phone call. We need to disappear for a while, Rex was saying. Go somewhere no one can find us. You think he won't follow? Kara snapped. I think we're running out of options. Logan smirked. Running was good. It meant they were scared. He pulled out a new phone and typed one line. Every signal leaves a trail. He hit send. And waited. Because sometimes you don't need to chase people. You just need to make sure they never stop looking over their shoulder. Clint hadn't slept in 36 hours. He was riding shotgun in Logan's Jeep, maps and marked-up files scattered across his lap. You sure about this one? He asked, pointing to a circled warehouse on the edge of Norfolk. Logan nodded. They're moving the money offshore tonight. Last load. If we intercept that truck, we have everything. Clint rubbed his eyes. You're operating like a machine. I'm surviving, Logan said. No, Clint snapped. You're sinking. Logan glanced at him, cold. This isn't a therapy ride. Clint's voice dropped. You ever stop to think what happens when this is over? Logan didn't answer. Because he didn't have an after. That was the part nobody got. People like him weren't built for clean endings. They reached the warehouse just past midnight. Logan watched the security patterns, timed the rotations, then slipped in through the side gate like he'd done it 100 times. Clint followed, breathing hard, nerves on edge. Inside, crates were stacked and tagged. Electronics, weapons, cash, encrypted drives. Logan snapped pictures. Took one drive. Left everything else. This wasn't about stealing. This was about truth. Evidence. Wait. The kind that crushed liars when dropped hard enough. They slipped out before the guards even noticed. Back in the Jeep, Logan stared at the drive. This wasn't just about Kara or Rex anymore. This was a network. A system. And he was going to tear it down. One name at a time. Rex Dalton had never been to Langley. But the man he was meeting insisted. Inside a private conference room with no windows, he sat across from a sharp-dressed man in a black suit with government eyes. You're in trouble, the man said flatly. Rex leaned back. Depends on how much you want to believe a dead man. The agent slid a folder across the table. Inside, photos of Logan. Surveillance footage. Reports. And one document labeled, Project Perseus, Operative, Rourke, L. Rex stared. What the hell is this? The agent leaned in. This was never supposed to come out. I didn't sign up for this, Rex said. You cashed the checks. I thought we were just pushing him out. I didn't know he was flagged. I didn't know he was disposable. The agent finished. Rex's face went pale. The man stood. Whatever you thought you were a part of, it's over. And if Logan Rourke finds this file before we clean it up, you won't have to worry about him killing you. He paused. You'll need to worry about us. He left Rex sitting alone. File open. Hands shaking. Because in that moment, Rex finally realized. He hadn't betrayed a man. He had betrayed a weapon. And now that weapon had no leash, no master, and nothing left to lose. The warehouse was gone. Not empty, gone. Clint stood in the field where it had stood just 24 hours ago, staring at the ashes and blackened metal. The entire place had been leveled overnight. No explosion, no alarm, just burned to the ground. By the time local fire crews arrived, there was nothing left to save. The investigation report would call it electrical failure. But Logan knew better. He stood beside Clint, arms crossed, eyes locked on the smoke curling into the sky. They're covering their tracks, Clint muttered. Logan nodded. That's what rats do when they know someone's coming. What now? Clint asked. We escalate. He pulled a flash drive from his pocket, the one they'd taken before the warehouse vanished. Inside it, every bank account, every transaction, every dirty name connected to Rex, Kara, and whoever else had funded the op that left Logan dead. It was time to go public, but not through press. Not yet. First, pressure. Targeted. Loud. He sent out 10 emails to 10 specific people. City officials. Federal contacts. Private contractors. The subject line was just one word. Burn. Inside? A warning. This isn't revenge. This is exposure. You've got 72 hours to choose which side of the flame you're standing on. Clint glanced at him. You really think they'll listen? Logan looked back at the rising smoke. They will. Fire doesn't need permission to spread. Because the only thing louder than justice is when you burn everything they built to the damn ground. Kara sat in the hotel bathroom, door locked, water running. She stared at herself in the mirror. Mascara smeared. Hair tangled. Hands trembling. She barely recognized the woman staring back. Rex was in the next room, pacing, shouting on a burner phone. Paranoia had overtaken him. He kept a pistol under his pillow and checked the window every 15 minutes like clockwork. Kara wasn't scared anymore. She was tired. Tired of the lies. Of the running. Of the ghosts they tried to bury crawling out of the dirt stronger than when he went in. She reached into her makeup bag, pulled out the second burner phone, the one only Logan had messaged. She hadn't answered in days. But now she typed one line. He's cracking. I'm not with him anymore. Tell me what you want. She had sinned. The message was a fracture. The kind that splits everything open. Logan read the text from the rooftop of an apartment complex. He didn't smile. Didn't feel relief. Just confirmation. Kara wasn't innocent. But she wasn't the enemy anymore. Maybe. He sent one line back. Meet me alone. Tomorrow. No lies. The fracture was here. In trust. In truth. In everything they thought they knew about each other. Because it's not the first break that does the damage. It's what comes after. Logan sat in the diner again. Same booth. Same seat. The place was almost empty. Just a sleepy server and some old country song playing low on the radio. Kara walked in, hood up, sunglasses on. She looked thinner, worn. She sat down across from him without speaking. For 30 seconds, they just breathed. Then she said, the night before your last mission. Rex told me you were going to die. Logan's eyes didn't move. I didn't believe him, she said. But when you disappeared and the payout came, I didn't ask questions. I told myself maybe it was karma. That you chose your job over me for the last time. He stared at her. And that made it okay? No, she said, eyes glassy. It made it easier. Logan finally looked out the window. I needed to know if you were part of it. Now I do. I wasn't at the start, she said. But I didn't stop it. That's still a choice. She nodded. Took it. Then she pulled a paper envelope from her coat. What's that? Logan asked. Proof. Rex met with a handler 2 nights ago. Private intelligence. I followed him. Took pictures. Audio. He's selling something. Not just arms. Files. Identities. Logan opened the envelope. Stiff photos. Timestamped audio. A voice he hadn't heard in years. The package is confirmed. Project Perseus is still live. Logan leaned back. The air felt heavier now. What does that mean? Kara asked. He looked her dead in the eyes. It means this was never just about betrayal. It was about what I knew. And suddenly, everything made sense. They didn't want him dead because he was a threat to them. They wanted him dead because he was a threat to what came next. Rex Dalton didn't sleep anymore. The hotel curtains stayed shut. The TV ran white noise through the night. His gun never left his hand, even in the shower. He wasn't a man anymore. He was prey. He could feel it. The walls weren't closing in. Logan was. And the most terrifying part? Logan wasn't rushing. He was patient, calculated, moving like a predator who'd already chosen how the hunt would end. Rex stared at the laptop screen, scrolling through encrypted messages from contacts who used to respect him, now dodging him, avoiding his calls, pretending they didn't know him. He wasn't powerful anymore. He was exposed. The money had gone quiet. The back channels? Cut. The partners? Vanished. He grabbed his phone and dialed the one number he said he never would. The man from Langley answered in 2 rings. You're on your own, the voice said coldly. You owe me. Rex snapped. You said you'd protect me if it got out. And it's out. Click. Silence. Rex screamed and threw the phone against the wall. The predator didn't need to chase him anymore. He just had to wait. Because now, Rex was bleeding in the water. Clint met Logan outside a boarded-up church at the edge of town. Fog clung to the trees. The place looked like something out of a nightmare. You sure this is it? Clint asked. Logan nodded. This is where the handler works out of. We're used to. We'll know in 5 minutes. They went in quiet. No talking. Just movement. Military muscle memory. Inside, it smelled like mildew and dust. The altar had been stripped. In its place, servers, equipment, crates. Clint moved to the corner and froze. Logan, look at this. A wall full of printed photos. Black and white. Dozens of them. All Logan. Everywhere. Training. Missions. One of them with Kara at their wedding. What the hell? Clint whispered. This wasn't just surveillance, Logan said. This was tracking. He opened a box on a nearby table, flash drives, notebooks, field reports. Then he saw it. A dossier marked. Ghost Protocol, Rourke. L. He opened it. His name. His biometrics. Medical files. Kill authorization. Dated before his last mission. Jesus, Clint whispered. They greenlit you months in advance. Logan stared at the paper in his hand, his jaw locked. They didn't kill me because I knew something. He looked at Clint. They killed me because I was a weapon they couldn't control. And now that weapon was loose. And aware. And more dangerous than ever. Kara stood in front of the courthouse parking garage, holding a manila envelope in her hands. Inside it, the audio proof, the photos, the link between Rex, the handler, and Project Perseus. She looked over her shoulder. Logan stood across the street, in the shadows, not moving. Watching. She took a deep breath and stepped inside. 10 minutes later, she was walking back out, lighter. It was done. The DA's office now had the truth. The fuse had been lit. And when it blew, it wouldn't just take down Rex. It would expose everything. Across town, Rex pulled into the back of a private hangar. A small plane waited, engine hot. Bags already loaded. He jumped out, phone pressed to his ear. We're leaving now. I'm done waiting. The pilot gave him a nod. They were just about to board when a sound echoed across the tarmac. Click. The hangar doors slammed shut. Then the lights cut. Total darkness. And a voice from the speaker system filled the air, slow, steady, surgical. Leaving so soon, Rex? He spun around, gun up, hard hammering. Where are you? The voice didn't answer. Instead, a countdown started. Not for a bomb, but for everything Rex ever built to explode into light. Because Logan didn't just want him dead. He wanted everyone to see why. At exactly 7 a.m., every screen in the Norfolk Metro Police Department flickered. Phones, monitors, tablets, all glitched for a moment. then displayed the same image. Logan Rourke. Alive. Speaking directly to camera. "This is not a threat," he began. "This is a correction." His voice was calm, clear, deadly. "For 6 months, you've been living off the lie that I was dead, that I disappeared, that my name could be buried under fake reports and dirty money." He leaned closer. "Let me be clear. I survived the mission they sent me on. I wasn't rescued. I wasn't debriefed. I was targeted." He uploaded a package, documents, videos, voice memos, signed government approvals for Black Ops. The anchor at a local news station gasped as the feed took over their live broadcast. Her teleprompter went blank. The network's control room tried to override it, but the hack was airtight. Logan's face appeared across every major channel in the region for 4 full minutes. Then he ended with one sentence. "The people who tried to erase me," just became the headline. And then it cut to black. By 8 a.m., the internet was on fire. Social media exploded. The name Logan Rourke trended globally. Feds scrambled. Phones rang off the hook. And those who had signed the orders to eliminate him, they were already in hiding. Because when the ghost they buried comes back from the grave, he doesn't knock. He kicks the door in. Rex's jet never took off. The hangar remained sealed. Local authorities, tipped anonymously, raided the site minutes after Logan's broadcast. Rex escaped through a maintenance tunnel beneath the runway, bloodied and panicked. No entourage. No exit plan. No backup. He was now officially wanted, charged with conspiracy, fraud, and material support of an illegal operation. Kara's evidence had been corroborated by Logan's file drop. His face was plastered across news bulletins. Logan watched from a rooftop 2 blocks away, sniper scope trained on the street corner where Rex's burner car would eventually arrive. But he didn't pull the trigger. Not yet. A voice crackled in his earpiece. "Clint. He's headed south. Looks like he's trying to reach the safe house near Raleigh." Logan nodded to himself. "That's his last move. You want me to intercept?" "No. Let him run," Logan said. "We're done chasing." Logan lowered the scope and packed up his rifle. "Next time he sees me," he added, "it'll be the last thing he sees." Because now that the world knew the truth, there was only one thing left to do. End it. The sun was setting when Logan arrived at the safe house. He didn't sneak in. He walked right through the front door. Rex was inside, pacing, pistol in hand. He turned fast, wide eyes, panicked breath. "You how the hell?" Logan shut the door behind him. Locked it. No words. Just silence. "I didn't have a choice." Rex barked. "They told me you were going to leak intel. That you were unstable. They said you had to be pulled from the program." Logan kept walking toward him, step by step. "You signed the order, Rex." "I didn't know they'd actually try to kill you." "You hoped they would," Logan said. "Because you wanted my life. My house. My dog. My wife." Rex raised the gun. Logan didn't flinch. "You pull that trigger," he said. "You better make it count." They stared at each other. And for the first time, Rex hesitated. Because deep down, he knew something terrifying. Logan wasn't afraid to die. He was already dead to everything that used to matter. Rex lowered the gun, hands shaking. "Please," Logan stepped close. "You don't get to beg now." A single gunshot echoed through the woods. Not from Logan. From the front yard. "Clint." Rex dropped to his knees, grazed in the leg. Screaming. Logan leaned in. "This isn't mercy," he whispered. "It's a warning to the rest of them." He walked away, leaving Rex bleeding, screaming. Not dead, but broken. And sometimes that's worse. Rex Dalton was in custody. Clint had called in an anonymous tip, made sure authorities found him wounded but alive. No exit wounds. Just enough pain to make him scream every time he moved. He was arrested in the woods outside the safe house, bleeding and crying, mumbling something about ghosts and Project Perseus. He was cuffed and hauled off, wild-eyed, still trying to convince the agents around him that it wasn't his fault, that it had never been his idea. But the headlines didn't care. Government contractor accused in SEAL assassination plot. Ghost operative exposes black site corruption. Logan Rourke alive. CIA silent. the nation watched. And for the first time in months, Logan didn't have to fight for attention. The truth had made it to the surface. But with it came something colder, bigger, more dangerous. Logan stood at Clint's place, reading a message that had just hit his encrypted inbox. From a contact inside the intelligence community. One word, others. He read it again. Others. He turned to Clint. It wasn't just me. What do you mean? Logan showed him the message. I wasn't the only one they marked. There are others who got wiped off the books. Soldiers. Agents. People like me. Project Perseus wasn't one mission. It was a purge. Clint's face went pale. And they're still out there? Logan nodded once. Unless they're already dead. He opened a second message attached below. A list. 8 names. 3 were crossed out. 5 remained. And next to each name, active, unknown status. Logan's jaw clenched. The war wasn't over. It had just evolved. The first name on the list was Monroe Cade. Last known location, Flagstaff, Arizona. Former recon intel. Disappeared 6 months before Logan's final deployment. He'd been marked Kia in training accident. Sound familiar? Logan didn't hesitate. He packed a bag, loaded the Jeep, and hit the road. Kara showed up at Clint's house a few hours later. She was shaken, but calm. Not looking for pity, just clarity. I know I don't deserve to ask, she said. But is he okay? Clint didn't lie. He's not okay. But he's moving forward. Where is he? Off the map again. Looking for someone. Kara looked down. Will he come back? Clint shrugged. Not unless someone gives him a reason. 2 days later, in the dust-soaked hills outside Flagstaff, Logan stood outside a trailer surrounded by rusted cars and satellite dishes. He didn't knock. He waited. The door opened. A man stepped out. Broad. Gray around the beard. One eye cloudy. The other sharp as a blade. Didn't think I'd ever see you, Monroe Cade said. Logan nodded. Didn't think I'd still be breathing. Monroe leaned against the doorframe. So, they tried to kill you too? Logan handed him the list. Monroe scanned the names. His hand trembled, just slightly. I figured something was coming, Monroe said. But I thought maybe I was just paranoid. You weren't, Logan said. Monroe looked up. You really want to dig this up? Logan's voice dropped. They killed my identity. Tried to bury me. Took everything I had. A pause. And now I'm going to return the favor. Monroe smirked. Damn. You sound like a man with purpose. I am, Logan said. He looked out at the horizon, the sky burning orange as night closed in. Because this wasn't just personal anymore. This was about every name they tried to erase. And he would find them all, one by one. The cabin was off-grid. No Wi-Fi. No cell service. Just a single landline hooked to an encrypted satellite relay that only a handful of people knew how to use. Logan sat at the table inside, eyes scanning the file Monroe had handed him, one name after the other, each one supposedly dead, each one connected by a thin black thread that someone tried hard to cut. Monroe poured whiskey into 2 mugs. You sure you want to do this? He asked. Logan didn't look up. I already started. Monroe nodded. Then I've got one lead. If she's alive, she'll know more than any of us. He slid a photo across the table. A woman, dark hair, sharp eyes, tactical vest. Call sign, Sable real name, Mace Sinclair. Former cyber ops and fieldwork for a Black Flag unit under Homeland. Disappeared 4 months after her last assignment in Kabul. Death ruled a terrorist hit. But Monroe didn't buy it. And now, neither did Logan. She's still in the country? Logan asked. If she is, she'll be in D.C. Underground circuit. The hacker world knows her. They just don't say her name out loud. Logan leaned back, thinking, why would they go after her? Monroe tapped the photo. Because she built the digital map of the entire Perseus Shadow network. Logan stared at the image. One woman. A key. A threat. I need her. Monroe gave a quiet smirk. Yeah, well, good luck finding a ghost who doesn't want to be found. Logan stood, grabbed his bag, and opened the cabin door. I don't need luck. He glanced back. I need to make noise. Washington, D.C. was loud, fast, and heavily monitored. which meant Sable was somewhere quiet, slow, and forgotten. It took Logan 4 days to find her trail. He paid off 2 hackers, hacked a private data broker's server, and cross-referenced IP pings tied to a long-dead military satellite from a decade ago. Then finally, a signal. An old auto body garage in Anacostia, run by a man named Kilo. Ex-con. Grease under his nails. And apparently, her contact. Logan pulled in, engine humming low. Walked inside without a word. Kilo barely looked up. "You Logan?" Logan didn't answer. Kilo laughed. "You don't talk much." "That's fine." She said, "If someone like you came looking, you'd have to pass a test." "What kind of test?" Logan asked. She said, "If you're real, you'll already know the answer." Then he handed over a burner phone. A message flashed on the screen. "How do you kill something that doesn't exist?" Logan read it. Typed back, "You can't, but you can hunt what created it." A pause. Then the screen lit up with an address. No name. No instructions. Just coordinates. Kilo smiled. "She's watching." Logan turned to leave. "You sure about this?" Kilo asked. Logan looked over his shoulder. "She's the one who mapped Perseus?" Kilo nodded. Logan's jaw tightened. "Then she's the next piece." He stepped out into the street, the sun low and orange behind Capitol Hill. Somewhere beneath the city, another ghost was waiting. And Logan wasn't looking for a conversation. He was building a war. The address led Logan to a rundown bookstore beneath an overpass, the kind that looked closed even when it was open. A faded sign above the door read, "Novelties and Notions." No cameras. No windows. Just dust, age, and silence. He stepped inside. The bell above the door didn't ring. Shelves of forgotten paperbacks lined the walls. A single light buzzed near the back. No clerk in sight. "Rourke," a woman's voice called. Calm. Confident. He turned. She stood behind the counter, arms crossed, watching him like a scientist studies a live wire. May Sinclair, Sable. Shorter than he expected. But her presence filled the room like tension before a storm. "You tracked me," she said. "That means you're either smart or suicidal." Logan didn't blink. "You were on the list." "I know. I made the list," she replied. He stepped closer. "Then why aren't you doing anything?" "I am," she said. "Surviving." She walked to a back room, waved him in. Inside, walls covered in old-school maps, red thread, sticky notes, and monitors, dozens, some still running on outdated OS systems. No internet. All hardwired, analog. Logan scanned the room. "You built this?" She nodded. "Before I went ghost. Back when I still believed someone would care." He tossed her the flash drive with the files from the hangar. "They still do. Now more than ever." She plugged it into an offline rig. Scanned it fast. Rex. Dalton. Dirty money. Civilian contractors turned black market runners, she said. "It's all here. But this is surface level." She pulled a file from her desk. "This is the core." She opened it. A map. Dozens of red pins. Names. Dates. Then she pointed at one line of text. Phase 2. Civilian asset activation. Pending approval. Logan stared. "What does that mean?" She met his eyes. "It means they're not just killing ghosts anymore." She took a breath. "They're building new ones." Logan sat across from Sable in the back room, the software of her old machines pulsing like a heartbeat. She laid it out, clear, brutal, and simple. Project Perseus wasn't just about eliminating rogue assets. It was about control. "They've been recruiting off the grid," she explained. "Discharged soldiers. Hackers. Burned agents. People with no family, no footprint. They train them, test them, then erase them. Turn them into what?" Logan asked. She looked him dead in the eye. "Into you." He didn't flinch. But something inside him shifted. "How many?" "At least 24 active," she said. 10 more in pipeline. They've got handlers. Missions. And no idea they're part of something this big." Logan's voice dropped. "And they'll never question it until it's too late." Sable nodded. He looked over the blueprint on her screen. Code names. Missions. Places. Then he saw one marked Phase 2 OPECOV. A date stamped beside it. 72 hours from now. "What's Echo V?" he asked. She hesitated. "You're not going to like the answer. Try me." She opened a folder. Inside, photos of a storage facility in Virginia. Military contracts. Civilian cargo marked sensitive tactical, restricted access. And one name on the manifest, Clint Rourke. Logan's blood ran cold. "They're using my brother?" Sable spoke low. "Looks like he got flagged. Maybe a pressure point. Maybe they think he's useful." Logan stood. "Where is it?" "I'll take you," she said, rising. Logan paused. "Why help me?" She grabbed her coat. "Because if we don't stop Echo V, your brother dies." She looked back at him. "And if we do stop it, we finally break the machine." It was just past midnight when Logan and Sable parked a quarter-mile from the target site, an isolated logistics hub posing as a cold storage facility. On the surface, shipments, inventory, routine deliveries. But underground? Echo V. Sable handed Logan a comms earpiece. "Motion sensors are low-end. It's the thermal cams you'll need to avoid. I'll kill the grid when you're 30 seconds in." Logan nodded, already focused. Black jacket, Kevlar vest, silence pistol, combat boots silent on gravel. He hadn't slept in 36 hours. Didn't matter. Adrenaline had replaced rest. Focus replaced fear. Because Clint wasn't just family. He was the last part of Logan that hadn't been stained by this entire war. He moved fast, cutting the fence with bolt cutters, rolling beneath the security beams. At the back loading dock, he placed a charge, then whispered into his mic, "On your mark." Sable's voice crackled in. 3, 2, 1. Power's out. He moved. Boom, controlled breach. The steel door buckled inward, smoke hissing out. Inside, everything was black. Logan switched to thermal goggles. Room full of boxes, crates, servers, and 2 armed guards stumbling in confusion. 2 shots. 2 bodies dropped. He pushed forward. Downstairs. Deeper. Until he found it, a reinforced chamber, ID locked. He placed another charge. Clint had 11 minutes. Maybe less. Boom. Door blew open, and there he was. Clint, strapped to a chair, fur in his arm, eyes barely open. Logan ran in, dropped to his knees. "Clint. Hey, stay with me." Clint blinked. "Knew you'd come." Logan cut the restraints fast. Ripped the 4-line. Sable's voice came over the mic. "Logan, they're moving. 2 vehicles en route. You've got company. Big company." He lifted Clint onto his shoulders. "Then we make our exit loud. Because this wasn't just a breach. This was war inside their walls." Sable tapped away at the portable rig set up inside the back of her van, parked a quarter-mile from the site. She wasn't just Logan's eyes anymore. She was the hammer. "Got movement," she said into the mic. 3 SUVs. Unmarked. No plates. "They're not here to negotiate." Inside the compound, Logan moved with purpose, Clint over his shoulder, pistol in hand. Every hallway felt like a trap. Every door, a ticking clock. "Which exit?" he asked. "East loading bay. Fastest line to the tree line. I've got the grid hacked. But I can't hold them forever." Logan turned a corner. 2 guards in full tactical gear spotted him. Gunfire exploded. He ducked behind a steel crate, set Clint down gently, returned fire. 2 sharp pops, both guards dropped. He dragged Clint through the exit corridor, every muscle burning. Outside, floodlights flickered. Sable's doing. The world flashed between light and dark. Confusion worked in their favor. Then came the chopper. Black. Silent. Hovering above. Sable cursed. That wasn't in the flight logs. "Options." Logan grunted. "Option A, die. Option B, run. Option C, make your own option." Logan smirked through the chaos. "See it is." He set Clint against the sidewall and pulled a magnetic charge from his vest. He aimed high, locked it onto a fuel tank mounted next to a power generator. Sable saw what he was doing through a hacked surveillance cam. "Oh, you're going loud. Logan clicked the trigger. "Light it up," he whispered. Boom. A wall of fire erupted as the tank detonated, blinding light swallowing the sky. Sable floored the van as Logan ran through smoke with Clint, bullets chewing the air behind him. She pulled up just as he hit the treeline. Back doors flew open. Logan tossed Clint in, dove in after him. Tires screamed. They were out. Not safe. Not yet. But breathing. Sable glanced at Logan in the rearview mirror. "You're insane," she said. Logan wiped blood from his face. "No. I'm awake." The safe house was nothing more than a broken-down barn outside Richmond. No cameras. No satellites. Just time. Clint lay on a cot, weak but stable. For in his arm, stitched up and sedated. Sable monitored his vitals, lips pressed into a tight line. Logan paced outside in the cold, jaw tight, rage building behind his calm. This wasn't about messages anymore. Not about warnings. Not about watching them sweat. This was about ending it. He lit the match. But now he needed fuel. Sable stepped out of the barn, her voice low. "He's stable for now." But they pumped him full of a stimulant cocktail, experimental. I don't know what they were trying to turn him into, but it wasn't human. Logan didn't answer. She reached into her jacket and handed him a drive. "Here. This is the location of the central relay where they move all their black data. If you kill that hub, everything goes public. Every file. Every off-the-books op Perseus dies in one hit." He took it. "What's the risk?" Sable gave a bitter smile. "Everything." He nodded. There was no debate. He turned to go. "Logan," she called. "If you do this, there's no coming back." He looked at her, eyes flat. There was never any back. He walked toward the Jeep, the wind slicing across the empty land. Because sometimes the only way to fix something broken is to take the whole damn structure down. The facility was hidden beneath a military testing ground in West Virginia. Technically decommissioned. Officially off books. No public records. No paper trail. But Sable had cracked it. They called it Mother. The core of the Perseus network. A buried server farm protected by facial recognition, biometric locks, and armed teams trained to kill without question. Logan stood at the edge of the woods, watching guards patrol the fence line. Past them, a steel door embedded into the hillside, the entrance to hell. He'd seen worse, but never this close to the source. He'd come alone. No backup. No Sable. No Clint. Just rage, purpose, and silence. He cut the fence, slid through shadows like smoke. One guard spotted him, barely had time to raise a hand before Logan dropped him with a clean shot to the throat. 2 more steps, and he was at the hatch. He placed a coded key Sable had given him, stolen from a black market broker who'd lost 3 fingers in the deal. The lock clicked. He entered. And the cold hit him instantly. This wasn't a base. It was a tomb, rows of glowing blue servers pulsing like heartbeats, silent men moving through the dark in masks and black uniforms. He didn't stop to study. He moved like death. Every step had purpose. Every shot, a message. He reached the mainframe, plugged in Sable's device. It took 10 seconds. In that time, Logan killed 5 more men. The upload began. 73%. More guards approaching. 86%. Gunfire. Pain. His shoulder. Bleeding. He didn't flinch. 100%. The lights across the network died. Then rebooted. Every screen flashed one word. Declassified. The files were live. Worldwide. The world reacted in waves. First confusion. Then denial. Then fire. Files spread like wildfire. Reddit threads, Twitter chains, encrypted sites. Names. Operations. False deaths. Ghosts returned to life by data and proof. Every dirty op. Every hidden murder. Exposed. A live feed played from one of the security cams Logan had spliced into during his breach. It showed the main server room. Blood on the floor, bullet holes in the steel. A man dragging himself toward the exit with fire in his eyes. Logan. Bleeding. Breathing. Alive. Sable watched from a remote terminal in D.C., her hands shaking. He did it. Across the country, families of men who were told their sons were dead suddenly had names. Faces. Answers. And within the government? Panic. People resigned overnight. Others went silent. Some ran. The name Logan Rourke was no longer a ghost in a file. He was proof. Back in the woods, Logan made it 50 yards from the facility before collapsing near a stream. He stared up at the trees. The sky between the branches was wide and endless. He smiled, just a little. Then everything went black. News anchors couldn't keep up. Every hour, more files from Project Perseus leaked into the public domain. Hundreds of operations, disavowed agents, civilian surveillance programs that weren't supposed to exist. The U.S. government scrambled to issue statements, most of them carefully worded half-denials, drowning in legalese. But the people weren't buying it. Across the country, protests erupted, not over politics, but over the truth. Because Logan Rourke didn't just expose a black program. He exposed a blueprint for how people in power erase the ones they can't control. And the public saw it for what it was. A warning. Clint woke up 3 days later in the safe house. His brother was gone. Sable sat at the table, coffee in hand, staring at a laptop screen, looping the final footage of Logan limping out of the server facility. He made it, Clint whispered. Yeah, Sable said softly. But no one's seen him since. Clint looked out the window, jaw set. He's out there. He's bleeding, she said. He's not done, he replied. Sable slid a drive across the table. This has the rest of the list. Every name. Every facility still active. We thought Persis was dead. It isn't. Clint looked down at the drive. Then back at her. What are you saying? Sable leaned forward. I'm saying we don't bury what he built. 2 men sat in a glass-walled conference room somewhere in Virginia. One wore a suit with a flag pin. The other, a tactical vest under a windbreaker, military haircut, cold eyes. They watched a screen showing Logan's breach, frame by frame. The man in the suit spoke first. What's the damage? 17 black sites burned. 48 assets compromised. 13 handlers unaccounted for. And Rourke. Gone. The suit clenched his jaw. And the list. Public. We've lost control. Silence. Then the tactical man leaned forward. We initiate Echo Protocol. The suit hesitated. That's a kill order. It always was. Anyone else? The man nodded. We activate the new model. Controlled, clean, untraceable. And if they fail? The man looked straight into the screen. Then we release the wolves. Clint stared at the drive. The file named Echo Protocol blinked at him like a loaded gun. What is it? He asked. Sable's voice was quiet. Insurance policy. If the leaks went too far, they'd send a new generation of agents. Not just killers. Program ghosts. They're not trained to protect. She looked at him. They're trained to finish the job we started. Clint stood slowly. Then we find them before they're activated. She nodded once. Then we become the firewall. Because the story wasn't over. It was just shifting sides. Logan woke up with dirt in his mouth and fire in his lungs. His body ached. Ribs cracked. Shoulder stiff. But alive. He was in a cabin he didn't recognize. Bandaged. Alone. A folded note sat on the floor beside the bed. He opened it slowly. You're not done yet. He forced himself up. Every step a war. In the mirror, he looked like a ghost. Sunken cheeks, haunted eyes, skin pale. But under it all, something new had taken root. Not just vengeance. Clarity. The world had changed. Not because he wanted it to, but because he forced it to. He opened a trunk in the corner, his old gear, cleaned and prepped. And beside it, a second drive. One Sable had left him. Echo Protocol, targets active. 8 names. 1 mission. He stared out the cabin window as the sun rose behind the trees. Not in anger, not in fear, but in focus. He zipped the gear, loaded his weapon, and stepped outside. Because they buried him once. They tried to turn him into a warning. But now? Now he was the response. The names were burned into his mind. 8 of them. Each tied to the new version of Project Persis. Each trained to replace what Logan had once been. But none of them knew the truth. Not yet. Logan stood in the highlands of Montana, near the drop zone of the first target. A quiet ranch house surrounded by pines. Peaceful. Still. A lie dressed in countryside. He waited. Watched. Then moved. Inside, he didn't find a killer waiting to ambush him. He found a kid, no older than 23. Tired eyes. Dog tags with a name that wasn't real. Logan recognized the look. He'd worn it once himself. He didn't draw his weapon. Instead, he set the file down on the table between them. Photos. Documents. Proof. This is who trained you, Logan said. This is what they're using you for. The kid stared, silent, then whispered, "Why are you showing me this?" Logan's voice was low, steady, human. "Because you still have time to choose who you are." That was 3 months ago. Since then, 5 of the 8 disappeared. Off-grid. Ghosted on purpose. Not running. Rebelling. Clint and Sable built a private network, one the government couldn't touch. A firewall for the ones who'd seen too much to ever sleep again. They didn't recruit. They awakened. Logan moved between them, unseen, training some, warning others, exposing hidden ops and quiet drops, burning the rest before they ever reached ignition. He no longer needed revenge. He'd become something else entirely. Not a name, not a ghost. A reminder. Some say Logan Rourke is dead. Others say they've seen him in shadows, in passing, in the quiet before a storm. But if you listen closely, across every encrypted channel, behind every leaked drop, you'll find one mark. A black insignia. An open eye. And beneath it, one phrase: "You buried the wrong man." Enjoyed the ride? Then make sure to subscribe to the channel, because this is just one story in a world of many. Hit that like button if you felt the fire, the pain, the justice. Share this with someone who'd never let a betrayal go unpunished. Now tell me this. If Logan showed up in your city tonight, do you think you'd help him or hide? Drop your answer in the comments. And remember, ghosts don't fade. They wait.